One of my favorite TV shows was undoubtedly Home Improvement. It helped us laugh and always seemed to teach something about life. Watch it in reruns. You'll love it. Recently, my wife and I and two longtime friends, Quentin and Ruth, enjoyed a dinner for 8 at a barbecue joint in Des Moines, Iowa. I know there were just 4 of us, but man, did we eat. As we did, Quentin told us a cool story about home improvement that made dinner even better. His parents split up when Quentin was 3, leaving his mom struggling to make ends meet with 7 kids. Well, thankfully, 2 high school teachers took an interest in him. The first was his math instructor, Bill Mellencamp. Bill and his wife, Charlene, were neighbors who became a second father and mother to Quentin. And when they discovered that Quentin loved food and that it was sometimes scarce in his home, they weighed him down with casseroles, included him in family meals, helped with practical needs like clothing, and found him summer jobs. Amazing neighbors. Quentin knew that they were Christians. We called them Jesus freaks back then, he says. I was guarded about discussions of faith, he told me, but eventually their sincerity and everyday compassion caused me to genuinely trust them. Mostly, they just lived a life of love and kindness, like Jesus. When Quentin was 16, he was walking down the street, baseball mitt in hand. Let's see one here. Yeah, something like this, hopefully bigger than this, and ball like that. When Mr. Mellencamp yelled at him, "You want to play catch?" Well, of course he did. The resulting relationship would change Quentin's life. They exchanged pitches and conversation about school, jobs, current events, and in time, faith. Bill was a bit of a sage, Quentin laughs. He would disperse little nuggets of wisdom while we were talking. I had no idea that half the world would find out about those nuggets, but in time they did. How? Well, the second teacher who took an interest in Quentin was a Christian too, and a friend of Bill's. His name, David McFadzean. He too was smitten by Bill's homespun wisdom and kindness. And in time, David McFadzean moved to Hollywood to create, produce, write, and direct the hit show starring Tim Allen and his next-door neighbor, Wilson W. Wilson. He's that guy who only shows us the top half of his face as he peeks over the picket fence and offers Tim wise counsel for life on home improvement. Quentin smiles when he's telling this. The inspiration for Wilson was my neighbor Bill, he says. He sometimes quotes scripture on the show. I actually had the real-life Wilson as my neighbor. But it gets better. As Quentin and his wise old neighbor's friendship grew, Quentin began to lean into the possibility of a personal faith in Jesus. I had always been nervous about these born-again Christian types, he says. The thought of becoming one was the furthest thing from my mind when we played catch. I don't remember Bill giving me a gospel presentation. We talked about things like the Bible, Jesus, grace, forgiveness, and even justification by faith. And we laughed. Mostly, he just lived a life of love and kindness, like Jesus. But Quentin thought he needed to be good enough before God could love and welcome him into his kingdom. Wise old Wilson told him otherwise. God already loves you, he said, so much that he would even give his son to die in your place. In the end, says Quentin, Bill and Charlene just killed me with kindness. Their neighborly love broke down the protective fences I'd built around my heart, and slowly I came to trust in Jesus. His family and friends were shocked, but he's never looked back. Today, he and his wife, Ruth, have 3 kids. When he isn't burping his new grandbaby or speaking to pastors in East Asia, Quentin leads a huge church in Iowa that's known in Des Moines as the church that loves Jesus and loves the community. It all happened because his neighbor loved him. When Quentin spoke at Bill's funeral, he told the mourners that no one person had changed him more than the wise and witty Wilson, who simply asked him to play catch when he was 16. Maybe today you think, I'm too small for God to use. But can you throw a ball, bake a casserole, make somebody laugh? It's really not that complicated, Quentin smiles. Just love your neighbor as yourself. Laughter is phenomenal medicine. Share it, like it, pass it on by subscribing to the button that you subscribe to. Then, hey, take the rest of the day off.